Will be given by His Grace Jagajiva Jagannath Das. Jagajiva Jagannath Das is a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj and is based out of Damodar Desh in the Middle East. He has been in the movement for almost 30 years and is actively involved in a number of services in his local congregation, including teaching Sastric studies, outreach in worker camps, and initiation coordination. Over the past few decades, he has mentored many devotees and continues to serve devotees there. In his material life, he works as a chief information security officer at a large aluminum plant. It is our honor to have you here today, Prabhuji. Please welcome him to speak.
Thanks, Parul. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'm very, very happy to be in the midst of all of you in the last Sunday of July. I think as July, August moves on, people in the West, I think, have a feeling of separation, right, from summer. Because these are the best and bright months for you, people here. And these are the toughest months for people where I live with. So today I was just seeing my computer. It is 87 degrees Fahrenheit here, whereas there, the place where I come from, it should be around 125 Fahrenheit. It's pretty interesting how the nature is there, nature is spread, and many variegatedness of the nature. So today I chose a topic which is not new to you, definitely. You must have heard about this many times, but I thought of being with you to go through this for my own purification, and if at all I can share some of my experiences in understanding this topic, I would be very, very happy. And the way I have tried to prepare and present this is there'll be a bit of interaction and discussion during the course of the session. So I humbly request you to participate to the best of your ability, to encourage me, to help me, to guide me, to support me in whichever way you can. So, Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, one of the objectives that I've set to myself in preparing for this is to get to a position to mold my life, to mold my thought process, to be more and more absorbed in the teachings of Srila Prabhupada when we actually read his purports or listen to his lectures, or listen to the lectures from those who have listened to him or read his books, and also to get the best out of the revelation that Srila Prabhupada has made through his wonderful expositions or wonderful books, lectures, conversations, and things like that, right? So this is my overall objective in this 45 minutes to 1 hour, as trying to share some thoughts on this. How can we get this? What are the tools and techniques that we can use it in getting more and more absorbed in the teachings of Srila Prabhupada when we go through them? Yeah, that's the topic. So that's why I chose the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada, because if you understand the mood and the mission of Srila Prabhupada and why he has done all this, then we have a better chance of understanding what he's trying to deliver. So in that context, I wanted to drive this. What is the inspiration for me to do this? So I arrived here on Friday, and very few days after I arrived, I happened to hear a morning class, a session. It's in a forum that's hosted by Haridas Varya Prabhu. So the speaker was His Grace Brajamohan Prabhu from Mumbai. So basically, he was emphasizing the fact that even though Shravanam, listening, is given a lot of importance, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, right? Among the 9 process of bhakti, Shravanam is given importance. But he said that our journey of bhakti, our cultivation of knowledge, our cultivation of spiritual knowledge should not stop with Shravanam, but it has to go further to remembrance and so on and so forth. That particular line where he had emphasized and modeled his lecture, the class around the topic has interested me. I said, yeah, this looks a very good idea to introspect myself, that it is not only hearing and remembrance, and we need to go further on to be able to absorb the teachings of Srila Prabhupada better. So this was my primary inspiration. And then while I was preparing for this, then I thought, where do I also seek inspiration from? So in the last year, in the year 2020, when the pandemic was in peak, ISKCON Minister of Education has launched a program called Books Are the Basis. In that, if you can go through the site, ISKCON Minister of Education, there's a lot of material on Srila Prabhupada and his books and how to read them and why we should read them. And there were several interviews taken by the ISKCON Minister of Education educators with so many great personalities, luminaries of ISKCON, leaders and preachers and so on and so forth. So I happened to be connected to that program some or other. So I heard some lectures, interviews with very keen interest. And then last year in the midsummer, we also had a month-long program of reviews of Srila Prabhupada books. So today I'm going to touch something about that program also. So I just wanted to share with you so that you can also take some cues. Probably you can have a similar kind of program here. So these three are my primary inspirations to come forward to you, in front of you, to take this opportunity to talk about Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission. So what is the context, apart from getting the inspiration from Rajmohan Prabhu's class? So I was just seeing what is the context in which why I should suddenly start to focus more. So two things were emerged. One thing is, in the months between June, July, August and September, by and large, as I told before, the Western world rejoices the wonderful summer mornings, heat, warmth. We in the ISKCON calendar also, we have several festivals that come, right? Jagannath Rath Yatra, Panihati Festival, Snana Yatra, Guru Purnima, Balram Jayanti, Janmashtami, Srila Prabhupada's appearance, Radhashtami. And these are some of the big festivals that come. And we all have an opportunity to be absorbed in those related pastimes, related stories, related messages. And of course, we also get a chance to do some service of other in all these programs, or at least in some of the programs. The big ones, of course, are Janmashtami, Balram Jayanti, Radhashtami. And so this is kind of a festive season, or a festive mood that encompasses these 4 months. But even though, of course, in our ISKCON calendar, we have almost festival every month or every 15 days, right? In Jagannath Puri, they say, 12 Mahina Tera Jatra. That means there are 12 months, but there are 13 festivals. What it means is that there are festivals there are a lot of festivals to enjoy, and a lot of festivals to rejoice, and a lot of festivals to take opportunity to do service, and a lot of festivals to increase our devotion and knowledge. And if this is the festival context of the theme of today, but there is a historical context also I just wanted to highlight. So July, August, September are a very interesting thing from the history of ISKCON point of view, and from the history of the ISKCON point of view, and for the people who stay in US, who live in US, who are US citizens now. There's a very huge historical context, right? ISKCON in July 1996, July 13th is where ISKCON was incorporated. Some of the temples here in Western countries, I think they are doing it in the first week of August, the same ceremony or the celebration. And August is a month when Srila Prabhupada set his foot on Jaladuta. And after 35-day journey from Calcutta, the Jaladuta reached Boston Commonwealth Pier on September 13th. So July, August, and September, all three have some very, very hugely historical connotations. Srila Prabhupada his foot on Jaladuta, and of course the greatest that he landed in America in September. So July, August, September are the months to be more absorbed in the thoughts of Srila Prabhupada, in the society that he has built for all of us, right? And all the more this year it is much more significant from an historical context, because as all of you are aware, it is the 125th year of Srila Prabhupada's appearance. So it's a very, very great moment for us, that the organization, that society that he has built for it, and he has appeared 125 years back, and we are living here to celebrate that great moment, right? So it's a very rejoicing moment. So apart from the festival context, there is a very good historical context from an English calendar point of view, for us to be more connected and more absorbed in the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in this phase of the year. So that's the reason why I took this topic to be more absorbed in the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. So if you look at, I've taken a sample of Srila Prabhupada's diary. Actually, when Srila Prabhupada was planning to go, and when he got the ticket, in those days, there used to be some concept like you give the complimentaries. So to give or to acknowledge something for appreciation or remembrance, people used to distribute the physical hard copy diaries. Even till recently also, that was the norm in many places. Like during the New Year, suppliers come to the clients, and then they used to give diaries. In temples also, if you go, there used to be diary about those temples. So people used to write it. That was the habit of people who used to write their, biographies, kind of a thing, autobiographies or historical facts. That used to be very prevalent in those olden days of handwriting. Probably nowadays it has gone into the computer to digitalization. So Srila Prabhupada was also given two empty diaries. So one he had used it to keep it as for the visitor's book. Whoever was coming to meet him and that kind of a thing, he used to note down. And meticulously, he also used to write what all happened to him. So to set the context of the mood and mission, I just picked up this beautiful description that Srila Prabhupada has made. This is a very telling three paragraphs that sets the mood or sets the tone of what is meant, what do we mean by Srila Prabhupada's mood. So on 12th, of course, the boat has started the Thursday 12th was to start to USA. That was the plan. And 13th, Friday, 1965, at 9 a.m. Srila Prabhupada went to set his foot on Jaladuta. And first thing, it was a cargo ship, as we all know. It was not a passenger ship. So obviously, one would not expect all the comforts of a passenger ship in a cargo ship. But luckily, Srila Prabhupada was given the owner's residence or the owner's room there. And then Srila Prabhupada was quite impressed about what he saw on Friday 13th. And he made a note that everything is nice in this first class compartment. This actually was handwritten by Srila Prabhupada, as you all know. Later it was transcribed into the way we are seeing it now. That's why you see some question marks here and there. Probably those points, they were not able to clearly decipher what he has written. And then he felt very happy, and he said, thanks to Lord Krishna. So first thing, when he saw something probably this is what he was not expecting to be in such a comfortable thing. First thing, he has thanked Krishna, not directly, for enlightening Sumati Murarji, for all these arrangements. So he's basically thanking Krishna for giving Murarji the kind of an idea to make him comfortable, and he said he is very comfortable. So this is one very important thing, is that Srila Prabhupada sees everything in the eyes, in the perspective of Krishna consciousness, either good or bad. So that was 13th, and then ship started. Obviously, it's starting from the backwaters in the Ganges, very nice flow, smooth flow, steady flow, and it went, and then slowly it entered the delta and then the sea. And that's where the issue came, and suddenly he felt very uncomfortable because now the ship is in the sea, and it's in the Bay of Bengal, and it was tossing up and down. And Srila Prabhupada saw that, its ship was there, and in the midst of the sea now, it's getting in the midst of the sea. And initially, Srila Prabhupada described that it looks like water was extending 40 square miles, but factually it was endless. And then immediately, in the next line, see Srila Prabhupada's mood. And again, whatever he saw, in the beginning he saw a very comfortable situation, unexpectedly comfortable situation. He thanked Krishna. and expectedly or probably somewhat unexpectedly, an uncomfortable situation, he saw that it is what we see sometimes as a very uh, you know calm and quiet thing from top or from distance. When we go near it is very different, and he saw it as it's a vivid example of God's Maya, because it appears like something but factually it is something else. It's a very significant statement, because this statement also indicates to us that Srila Prabhupada, just by seeing this discomfort, he is already getting mentally prepared to face a rough time coming ahead. And he was also trying to see in what way it would impact his mission. And that's why he remembered God's Maya, because it appears like something, but factually it is something else. But in the course and in discharge of our duty, and Srila Prabhupada set out his foot on Jaladhata to fulfill the desires of his master, and was very, very firmed up in his mission on what he wants to do in America. So this, he saw it as a manifestation of Maya, but he was mentally preparing himself to be very clear about the mission and to deal with Maya the way it is. Here, Maya is manifesting in terms of putting him in discomfort in terms of a boat tossing in the sea. But later we see in his life in America that there were several tosses like this, but Srila Prabhupada was very fixed. So this, in the 3 to 4 paragraphs, we can very clearly see how Srila Prabhupada dealt with situations. So that's why the mood and mission of Sri Prabhupada is a very important thing for us. From a dictionary point of view, when we see a definition of mood, it's a temporary state of mind or feeling. For in the context of today's discussion, we can remove the word temporary, because Srila Prabhupada's mood was pretty much constant. There's no temporariness in that. There was no ad hocness in that. So if you take some examples of his mood, we see compassion, uncompromising, very much depending on Krishna, seeing everything in Krishna conscious point of view, being ever grateful to Guru was his mood always. And these are only few statements that I'm trying to put here. And of course, his mission is, as we know, mission is an important assignment given to a person. And of course, Srila Prabhupada was given a fantastic mission by his Guru Maharaj to print and distribute books, to preach in English language, spread the glories of the holy name throughout the world, and so on and so forth. So these are some of the examples I've given, but the basic understanding is that a mood, whenever we talk about mood, is the mood of Srila Prabhupada, a state of mind or a feeling that he was going through. A mission is what he wanted to accomplish for the benefit of all of us. I just wanted to pause here for a minute and just wanted to see any of the devotees want to share any other mood or mission statements that they are aware of quickly.
Yeah, I have something on mission statement. You made 3 of them, 3 bullet points. Print and distribute books, to preach in English language, spread glories of holy name through the world.
Yeah.
I think the last one, spread the glories of holy name through the world, that comprises the previous 2 points. I mean, the previous 2 points are superfluous. That one point alone embraces everything else.
Very good. Thanks, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yep, correct. Yep. Thanks a lot. Spread the glories of holy name throughout the world is this is the right thing. Thanks a lot. Yes. Any other comments, please? Thanks a lot, Prabhu. Okay, so I'll move. So that's why the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada in the Shastric and scriptural studies is given a lot of importance. If you see in the systematic study of the scriptures, I've taken the example of Mayapur Institute. There are several other higher educations and institutes that also are teaching these Shastric studies like Bhaktiveda Vidyapit and VIH, Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education, but the concept is same. If you see in the Bhakti Shastri, the basic course where they teach Bhagavad Gita, nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, Isoparishad, So when in those when these things are taught, the aims of Bhakti Shastra, if you see, the first four are basically to give knowledge to the students and deepen their understanding and enable them to apply the teachings personally, or personal application they call it, and of course to make them better preachers because they get to know, get to understand, and get to memorize. So obviously they preach, but the anchoring point to make that preaching more effective is where the student is made to understand and appreciate the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada as revealed in the writings of the Bhakti Shastras, and predominantly it is the Bhakti Shastras of Srila Prabhupada, his purports and other things, and to perpetuate that understanding within ISKCON. So this is very important aim of a Bhakti Shastra, the Bhakti Shastra student, that not only he understands, memorizes, he applies the personally, and he also preaches, but he is also made to understand the mood and mission. Why Srila Prabhupada has dealt a topic in such a way, why he has to reveal that in such a way, is one of the core aims of the whole program. And later, as they put the aims, then they apply the principles in the Vaishnava communities to help the students appreciate and the Gaudiya culture, etiquette, Vaishnava Sangha, and things will come. And then, of course, to help the student imbibe the Vaishnava qualities. So in between these 8, the fifth one is a key thing, the mood and mission. So that's why in the open book assessments, when they teach the Bhakti Shastri course, in the open book assessment, one of the very, very first questions that they ask the student is to understand and explain the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada as a very, very beginning thing. And the first lesson starts with reading the preface of Bhagavad Gita, and then trying to, they ask the students to explain what they have understood in the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada from that, because that's where Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, why it is told, why the importance of Bhagavad Gita as it is, and things like that. So Bhakti Shastri is a foundational study course, right? And next we have Bhakti Vaibhav. It's a very long course. It goes up to 26 to 27 units, and each unit is almost about 16 to 20 hours. And and each unit has got at least two the open book assessment questions and closed book exams and things like that. It's a pretty advanced and a very long drawn study course of till the six cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. There also the anchoring point of to judge students' real understanding of what Srila Prabhupada is saying is through the questions of or through the deciphering of the knowledge on the mood and mission. Mood and mission is there also is given importance. It's not that somebody has finished Bhakti Shastri, so he doesn't have to get to know the mood and mission. So it's pretty interesting to see even in Bhakti Vaibhav also the student. That means after learning Bhakti Shastri, which typically takes a year or so, so there are 9 to 12 units are there, and after going through the whole Bhakti Vaibhav course, also this is tested. So I had an interesting experience because my wife has recently completed. I want to share something quickly. My wife has recently completed her Bhakti Vaibhav course. So one of her last but one module also had a question to explain on some matter regarding the mood and mission. So at the end of the Bhakti Vaibhav course, also they are expecting students to understand the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. That's a pretty that itself shows to me that in what way, with what seriousness that we need to understand this topic. So this is just a quick thing that I wanted to share. This is my first essay, Bhakti Shastri essay, that I was asked to write as a part of OBA, and this was about 15 to 16 years back. So as a part of the preparation of this, I just opened up this, and it's quite an interesting memory that I had, where you see they're asking the student to list 3 aspects of Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission as revealed in the preface to Bhagavad Gita, and comment on the importance of these two aspects of ISKCON. So why these mood and mission are important? So of course, in my essay, I picked up at that time when I read, I felt was good to write it as a thing to deliver the message of Bhagavad Gita as it is to all. This is important, to deliver the message of Bhagavad Gita, and while delivering as it is to all. And another mission was to educate humanity on the real understanding of the highest perfection of life, because there were quite a few misunderstandings on what is perfection of life, right? And the mood I picked up was uncompromising. This is one of the moods that was asked to Srila Prabhupada wherever he did. He was very straight, strong, and always quoted the things with references, and he was not compromising at all. And he rejected Mayavada philosophy in many of the forums that he could do without any hesitation or without any fear. And then the importance, like, what is the importance of this understanding the mood? So importance of giving this message, if we were to speak about it, if you see, in my own word, this is not a, okay, I'm trying to make it big, yeah. I felt that only this way we can bring about the real transformation, or parivartan, the transformation in Sanskrit is called, in people, because only by imbibing the mood and mission is one of the important ways where we can really do a transformation. It's not just people come and go, but we can bring a change in the lives of people. And it will establish ISKCON's non-compromising authenticity and purity in the world. It is not that just like any other organization, but an organization that is very focused, very authentic, and trying to give something which is there very much in the scriptures, in line with the disciplic succession, in line with the Guru Parampara, right? And then, of course, the general population also get the opportunity to get the highest perfection. And it's important for us to align with mission and mood of Srila Prabhupada as it is the safest option. So this is the option that we take, and this is the best way, because there is no question of a failure there. And if you see a Bhakti Vaibhav essay, also in dealing with one of the fourth canto subject matters, Bharat Maharaj, that was the question with specific reference to 429, 52, 54, discuss the relevance of dear philosophy in your life. And then they ask us to deal with what is the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada in dealing that subject matter of Bharat Maharaj. Why I'm showing this is mainly because to again drill the point. Drill the point that in the Shastric studies also this topic of mood and mission is given. So how do we get to do this? How do we improve our own absorption or our understanding of this mood and mission? So as I told that my inspiration when I heard the Brajmohan Prabhu's class was listening is not enough. Reading, right? Listening, nowadays you can listen or read. In my opinion, we can, at least in this for this discussion, we can make it as similar. Some people get the knowledge, some people read and get the knowledge. And then very important thing for us to be absorbed in the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada when we are reading his particular things is to remember. And when we remember, we must get some aptitude to contemplate. Repeated remembrance, I would call it as contemplate, and then get absorption of the key points, and then the understanding the context. This is one of the very, very important thing when we do with the understanding the context, because sometimes we may take some few lines or one paragraph and then try to align to our thoughts, but we need to align to what Srila Prabhupada's intention of telling that thing. Yeah, and the most important thing in the absorption of mood and mission and the energy that we get and the remembrance that increases is sharing it with others. Preaching is essence, right? The whole movement is preaching. And listening, reading thing, it's a rotating thing. So when we do this, it could few things that we really concentrate on the mood and mission, when we concentrate is what is the topic, what is that he's trying to tell us, why is he telling this, and how is he telling this. These are the things that we need to focus on to get to the point of really capturing and keeping and getting that mood and mission to ourselves. So this is a kind of a process that people recommend, and there are several education institutes. Different processes are there, different techniques are there. I picked up this kind of a process flow when I had an opportunity to be there, to listen to a few kind of workshop kind of sessions from Bhagavata Mahavidyalaya of Vrindavan. So they have the series of workshops to help people to prepare to deliver the Sunday feast kind of a classes. Of course, that workshop that I attended focused on taking sessions on Srimad Bhagavatam. But this is the one interesting thing that they tell. It's not exactly the same, but same thing. Some of the granular points they say is in to get the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada, you need to read the purports over and over again. So that's another way of that's another process step. But I kept it at a higher level. For me, the contemplating and repeated remembrance is also means that repeatedly reading the purport whenever we have. So if you take the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapit also has got a 5S model, Swadhyaya, the scriptural studies, they also have a similar concept. Shravanam, hearing, recollection, contemplation, recitation, and speaking. That is Kirtanam. And sadhana, seva, sangha, sadachar all rotate. But the Swadhyaya is one of the very key principle through which we can strengthen our sadhana. We have the opportunities to do seva. And we definitely, when we do Swadhyaya, when we do Kirtanam, when we speak, when we share what we know, we also definitely get Sadhu Sangha. And in order for us to do Swadhyaya, again, we have to seek Sadhu Sangha, good association, and all that combination will lead us to have a kind of an enhanced, good model Vaishnava behavior. And why should we focus on this? Apart from focusing on the mood and mission, getting educated, getting knowledgeable, ability to preach, ability to imbibe those Vaishnava etiquettes, are there any further things which are more grand, more on the ground or practical things? If you see this is what generally it is observed in the communities. Where I come from, I come from a community, an ISKCON Yatra, we call it community, which is much bigger in terms of the size, right? So where we have an opportunity to very closely meet and mingle with people. And I found among our community, the devotees who became very effective preachers in the course of last 20 years, that 25 years I have been there, I found those people were those people who really focused on what, why, and how Srila Prabhupada is saying, instead of just reading and telling. And they also had an opportunity to unpack some seemingly contradictory statements. And statement which sometimes provoke very strong reactions because it hits us like a bolt. Those statements, some of we don't want to believe it. We don't want to think about it. But reading over and over again and to put the view, a Krishna conscious point of view, an unadulterated, uncompromising mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. If that is the lens, then we will slowly understand what, how, and why he's saying what he's saying. And it helps us strengthening our own faith in the words of Acharyas. Because more and more we listen to Srila Prabhupada, more and more our faith in Acharyas comes, because the fantastic thing with Srila Prabhupada has established and in his purports is very referential, right? So whatever Srila Prabhupada tells, he basically refers to either his Guru Maharaj or the line of Acharyas that he's telling, and it's as if that he's not telling anything by himself, but he's only telling by the strength of the knowledge that he has received through Guru Parampara. So then if we get a strong faith in Srila Prabhupada's teachings, so obviously our own faith towards Acharyas also increases, and it helps us not to get swayed. So if we are absorbing in what Srila Prabhupada is telling his mood and mission, and we are fixed to it, it helps us not to get sweat. The last point I put it reduces problems within community. I put it in red because this line came to me a few years back when I was contemplating on the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada in a very interesting circumstances, because I am a part of, I also do some of my services include the initiation coordination of the community. So every year, an average about 150 to 170 devotees take initiation on an average. Uh, Last year, of course, it was less because of the COVID situation. So some significant portion, probably about 40 to 50% of the devotees take initiation from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj and others. So over the last few years, the initiation process, what we have, which we predominantly follow the model that is coming from His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's office, they have been continuously stressing that people have to read Srila Prabhupada books much more intensely, and they have to absorb it much more than before. So when this process started, seeping into our thing, when they were trying to screen the devotees who are willing to take initiation, for me as an administrator, it was a challenge. Because when the volume is so high, imagine in a year about every 150, 160 devotees. So even if we average it out every month, there are 10 to 12 devotees going through, and the long questionnaire is there, and what they read the books, what books they read, what they understood. And these are all the things that we have to screen and document and send it. And preserve it as a document within our own yatra. So, as an administrator, it was becoming a bit too much for me, my team, because that means our time got increased. So I kind of a thing went and told to the office, His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj's office, saying that this is becoming a bit of an overhead for us. So kindly do something. This is very difficult because we are all working and doing this service. And so then the office had a very interesting, we had a very detailed meeting on that. And then they said why His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is insisting, not only with his own disciples, generally for the last few years, Maharaj, Guru Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is insisting that people must read books, because they told that they have seen several cases within the community, within husband and wife, daughter and son, and siblings and devotees. Quite a few times, there were sparks of conflicts and issues that came, and when the issues got highlighted, and when they tried to do a root cause analysis of why that issue happened, and when they saw and when they went sat across each other, and they found that the people who got into these conflicts were not having a needed absorption or a needed understanding of the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada, on why he's reading it, what is his mission, what he wants us to do, what his disciples are doing. Somewhere that was lacking, even though theoretically they had finished the reading. They can understand, they can preach, but this underlying implicit absorption was not there with them. So that's why even among the husband and wife, when they get into the issues regarding the devotional service, they get into sparks. So, but when they were brought onto the table and they were explained these things, and they suddenly the conflict started reducing. So this they have seen practically, demonstratively, and in empirically. They could prove that. And so over a period of time, when they saw this, so then they said, no, this has to be put in our community strongly, so that we can avoid these kind of an issues, which would otherwise cause discomfort to the community, discomfort to the individual families. This was a very interesting realization that they have explained to me. And after that, once I had the meeting and got this realization, I said I also must be able to read better, understand better, because unknowingly, when I am also speaking, I may be speaking something which is out of the track, and that may put somebody to a discomfort, and that may lead to some kind of a confronting situation. Even if when I deal with my family members, in dealing some issues with respect to devotional life, sometimes the conflicting priorities do come in our own personal lives, right? Everybody is trying to do their own service within the family, but there are some conflicting things on priorities, setting the priorities. So when I gone through this thing, I really appreciated the importance and mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. So if something is helping us to gain knowledge, to become better preachers, to become better ambassadors of Srila Prabhupada's message, and it also helps us to internally also manage the differences and conflicts within our communities and families. It's something that we need to really think about it. So this is one of my understandings. Here I want to just give a pause and want to seek some opinion or anything on anyone's thing that why we need to focus on mood and mission. Anything else that I missed out or anything else I have to note down as a takeaway.
Yeah. Jagjiva Jagannath, you highlighted the last point with the red font, reduces problems within the community. And you generalized the whole thing, but to appreciate distinctly what it is, can you cite at least one example? You're generalizing it, but you're not giving one simple example so that it become clear for us.
Yeah, it's very good. Thanks, bro. Can I just move forward and get back to this, if you don't mind? Or okay, I'll take this. Yeah, I'll take this. One interesting problem. One interesting problem within the devotee communities is that sometimes I'll just take an example of husband and wife. These are the things that we tend to get quite commonly. The pace of the husband and the pace of the wife. Sometimes there could be a mismatch in their speeds, right? Both are sincere, both want to move forward, but the pace is different. Pace, the difference is that the way they imbibe, they want to practice the sadhana standards differ in some families. So the two issues that we commonly get is, one issue is with respect to prasadam. Okay, so there are some guidelines that are already given that we should always take Krishna prasadam, and sometimes what happens, a particular case that I remember which went was this, that husband somehow takes a very strong call that okay, no more taking food outside, and and wife appreciates it, but she's not able to follow. So they get into a kind of issues, and that slowly sparks come. Wife wants to go sometimes, relax and have some kind of a space for herself to, what do you call it as? I'm not getting the right English word now, but just to phase out, just kind of relaxation and just to get a break. Whereas husband doesn't want, and they get into an issue, and each one of them pick up some strings of statements of the devotees or here and there on okay when, or sometimes sometimes and some acharyas said it's allowed when you're preaching or it's allowed when you want to relax, but then you keep your focus on the main thing. But some statements say that no, it is it's a no-go kind of a thing. And when this kind of a conflicts come, and if they sit and discuss on what exactly it is said, where it is said, in which context Srila Prabhupada has said, then we can unpack it and apply that context to ourselves. Because there are, in the beginning of the phase, sometimes preachers are allowed to do certain, they were given some concessions because they have to go out, they have to distribute, they have to stay in the hotels and things like that. At later point in time, Srila Prabhupada said, those concessions should not be taken. We need to follow certain things. And there are some concessions given to grihasthas, and there are some certain standards given to people who are completely dedicated their life 24/7. So that differentiation, that understanding within the teachings of Prabhupada and his disciples has to be brought. If one were to read that in the whole context of what is being said, if somebody says that or taking outside is totally a no-go, in which context and which circumstance they are doing, if we understand that, and then there is a point, a common point between husband and wife comes, and they go smoothly, and then they can set their own goals on how they can improve further, because ultimate aim is to follow that very good standard of what we need to do. So that the conflicting situation eases out because each one has read both sides and has seen the problem in a broader context than sticking to their own points and discussing it. This is one example that we often get into when husband and wife are in different speeds.
Excellent. That's very clear.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So I just wanted to now go and tell you how we've tried some small endeavor to get more enhanced the absorption into the mood and mission. So every year in Gulf countries, just like the way you have the Christmas celebrations. So we also have every month there's a month of Ramadan. It's called Holy Month of Ramadan. At that period, things slow down. We have more time for ourselves, and office work is a bit less. So every year we do programs, and we also change that name internally within our community called Ramdan. Ramadan is referred as Ramdan. Okay. So every year we try to do something. So because last year it was ISKCON Minister of Education was so much emphasizing on books of basis. So we tried to do a program of remembering Srila Prabhupada's, doing the reviews of Srila Prabhupada books, just to inculcate within our own selves, and also to help the new members and other members also the importance of reading books, because nowadays there is so much of information that comes from WhatsApps and other things. Some of the books are getting relegated to shelves. So we just wanted to revive ourselves only for our own purification. So I just talk about that program. But basically, the inspiration from that program also came during in the interviews of the Books Are Basis to the Books Are Basis program. Two particular interviews caught my attention. So this is the idea that we came up with after I told to the community member that I like these two ideas. One thing in the interview of His Grace Revati Raman Prabhu, he is the temple president of Tirupati, very, very famous temple, very famous for their book distribution throughout the world. He told that in the temple community, they have one day dedicated after the daily services over, where all the main leaders of the temple, it's a big temple, leaders and sub-leaders assemble together along with Prabhu, Revati Raman Prabhu, and they give themselves a topic. And some of the selected members for that day have to speak what they have understood about that completely from Srila Prabhupada's purports and other literature of Srila Prabhupada, telling why Srila Prabhupada has written this, what and how. He made it as a mandatory in his temple, and he said that really helped. First thing is, it really helped them to get out of the normal administrative responsibilities, coming together as a friendly group of people, discussing, arguing, debating on what the topic, and trying to churn the topic together. And that's how he felt that the preachers, the quality of preaching in Tirupati temple has increased, and that in turn has helped them to distribute books more and more. From a few rupees, like 10 rupees, 30 rupees was their daily income on books, they went to a few lakhs a day in the space of 15 years. Mahasundari Madhavi must be rising from her chair when I say this. So this is how, and he said one of the reasons is that they increase the quality of their understanding of Srila Prabhupada. That is one point that we said, okay, it's pretty interesting. It's a practical thing, right? It's a tangible, practically demonstrable, evidenceable, auditable benefit that you're seeing. And second thing, I personally, I like the example of Amog Leela Prabhu. Amog Leela Prabhu, when the interviewer had asked, and what attracted you to come to ISKCON and Prabhupada, he said he has read the Bhagavad Gita, few versions of Bhagavad Gita before, but somehow or other he gets it's an interesting story on how he gets that book also, but that's a different subject matter. But when he gets it and when he starts reading it, he said he read it, and as he was reading it, he was getting more and more curious. He was wondering, who is this person who has written this purport, who seemed to be completely addicted on bhakti? I'm trying to see, because he has seen Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, and when those chapters come, he's trying to see something of that in the purport, but he's actually seeing Prabhupada is talking about bhakti, 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 bhakti. That is one of the missions of Srila Prabhupada, right? To give bhakti in a very accelerated, encapsulated manner. He said, this is what attracted me too much. This person, at that time, of course, he didn't know who Srila Prabhupada was. And he said, this person, whoever is writing, is completely addicted to Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. So there is something great in this thing, and that's why this all the lines that I'm reading seem to be having some power, and that's how he got attracted to the movement, and he came. So he said that was his pretty inspiration. So I was also quite impressed by that, and so I said let us dwell into that. So when we did this month kind of a 24-day program, what we did is we created a blog spot also, so that we can preserve the memory of the program. Ram Vijay Prabhu, I just need to know how long I can go on.
You can continue, Prabhu.
No.
No problem.
So again, the very important thing, a big disclaimer that I want to do is that I am not trying to kind of showcase or promote something. It is just that when I come from there to here, I talk about Damodar Desh, but believe it or not, when I go from here to Damodar Desh, I talk about your wonderful community. Small, sweet, focused, affectionate. This is what I like, point number one. And varied age groups, all working together. Like I see Vaikunteshwar Balaji Prabhu, Vaman Hari Prabhu, very, very elderly people, Buzurg bolte na, Hindi mein, this is what in Hindi they call very respectable personalities, to young students like that who all participate together. That's one very wonderful thing. So just the way I speak about them, here I go back and always talk about you people. So they are always eager to know what I learn from here and what I say that. So what we did is we preserved this in the thing, and then we had a schedule. I just show you the kind of a schedule that we had. Why I'm telling this is also another inspiration for this, is that some of the temples in India, I heard, particularly I heard in Salem, when we were Salem temple. There's a Salem. Sorry, I have to tell you that it's a place in South India. Okay, Gopal Krishna Prabhu, Gopal Chandra Prabhu can tell more about it, but it's a very nice place. It's a small town where a very nice ISKCON temple is coming up, building up. So there we had an interaction with the temple president. He was telling there it is managed and guided by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. So they also have a concept there. Now and then they do what is known as reading Srila Prabhupada book day or week. So just like the way we have japa retreats, during that week or 3-4 days they allocate, they just do their morning rounds of japa sadhana and nothing else. They keep reading. And just like the way we say, when we meet in the japa retreats, how many rounds you did, when did you finish your malas and japa. So same way they keep also asking, what book are you reading, or what are you learning? So they get absorbed in reading on the books for a particular period of time with a very good mission statement that we need to complete this. And in that, most of the temple devotees are encouraged to participate. So complete absorption in reading, sharing, sharing. So I thought why I'm sharing this is probably you can also at some point in time, if you feel it useful, you can also have a similar program. So we had this program used to happen from Saturday to Thursday. Friday is our weekly off, just like the way you have Sunday here. So Friday is a break day. But for 4 weeks we have this kind of a schedule that was prepared, and we just followed that. So this is where we did, and several community members were asked to participate in that, and for them to have some consistency, we had given them guidelines on how they should do. Okay, so one of the guidelines is very important, that you have read the book or the portion of the book for which you are allocated to give your overview, and you should be able to inspire the audience to read the book after the review. And for every day class, we had a quiz, and we had a review. Some devotee would comment or guide on the areas of improvement on how they have read the book. So we basically were trying to inculcate some kind of a thing on reading the books. And then if you see that, and we also try to preserve every day what happened on every day. Okay, so this was the day 24, and we say what was the book that was read, and then somebody was doing on the Upanishads. These are the days, right? So if I go here, what we have done is how the program started, who all came. Here is one of our senior members of the community, Parmeshwar Gaur Prabhu, who's been teaching Srimad Bhagavatam for about 20 years on almost a daily basis. So he explained how we should read Srila Prabhupada books. I'm just giving you like an example. I'll share the site with you, and he's our the leader of our congregation. He talked about founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada and importance of reading Srila Prabhupada books. This was the last day, and of course we have fun, and then people do this, and then we had a video, and then we had a concluding thing. Again, please do not see this as something that I'm trying to tell a boast or something like that. But this program was pretty interesting. So I'll just quickly play the video. It's about 2-3. I'll stop after 2-3 minutes, because just to give a feel of coming togetherness to read Srila Prabhupada books has a very interesting flavor. This is what we learned. Of course, this is the first time that we did this kind of program of reading Prabhupada books in a month-long thing. We did make few mistakes in terms of scheduling, in terms of we didn't properly see what we are allocating. So sometimes the topics got overlapped. Same topic is discussed in this book and other book. So devotees had some difficulties in dealing with this, and people also felt that quizzes were not an appropriate thing to do, because some people did not do quiz because they did not read the book, so they felt it's not right to do the quiz. So like that, some kind of a small failures happened, but overall. So if you just see this video, actually now I need a support here. How do I share the? 1 second. Are you able to hear the sound? Can someone quickly say?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
A hypnotic rhythmic chant of 16 words has replaced LSD and other drugs for some in New York's East Village. On 2nd Avenue and 1st Street is a storefront in which a Swami has set up shop. There, his American disciples are learning about Krishna consciousness.
It's streaming, I think. I'll just fast forward, because what I wanted to show you was these books we have read. So many people got involved. The other important thing that also we put as a program is that if you read when we read Srila Prabhupada books, we also have to know something about the acharyas in our line of succession, through whom Srila Prabhupada has taken a lot of information, right? So we also had every week we had a discussion about the life history and mood and mission of those acharyas who are come in our line of succession. So these are also covered. So why I was trying to share this is that I thought probably for your community, you can probably also think of some kind of a 2-3 day or 4 day, wherever. It will be very enlivening because children and old all can share some books and read and give their perspective of their understanding. It's quite interesting. You can take with small books because we felt it's good. Of course, again, I said that it's still we felt that we could have done much better, but it was an experiment and it's good. And good thing is that our technical team has preserved this for us. So if at all, if I have to talk or quickly go through what science of self-realization or transcendental civilization, I just have to go through site. There are presentation, there is the video link, quiz, a review of that, a summary of what is done is all available. So it's quite an interesting in this last Ramadan month. I just wanted to share because this is very clearly connected with that thing. Okay. And then once we get this conviction of this mood and mission, so there could be, and then we need to know what is our responsibility now. So we have Srila Prabhupada, who's appeared 125 years back, established ISKCON about 56 plus years back. And Srila Prabhupada has his disciples who are spread around the world, who's carried the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And what is our responsibility? How is this mission getting extended is one thing that we need to contemplate. We, and of course, the next generation of people also need to contemplate, because as this ISKCON from a very small, humble beginnings, as now is growing bigger and bigger and bigger, right? 500 plus centers, somebody say that 600 plus centers, it's grown quite a lot in different places. So I just thought this is kind of a discussion slide. I just was trying to put some thoughts about it. We can spend few minutes after I put these questions. These are the questions that I myself have. And honestly, I do not have full answers to what the question that I'm trying to put, even though I've got some idea. That's all at a very personal level. One is that is this mood and mission only limited to Srila Prabhupada? Or is this mood and mission only limited to Srila Prabhupada and disciples? Some people feel that way, that Srila Prabhupada is there, he has set his mood and mission, he has created ISKCON, and there's a need to be a reset and a restart of that. Or it's just an extension to his disciples who are his direct disciples, but ISKCON has to spread in a different manner. And what is my responsibility in understanding this mood and mission? This is a key thing that we need to ask ourselves, because we also have a very, very important role, right? In the ISKCON, we are part and parcel of ISKCON, and it's impossible, according to me, to see ISKCON without Prabhupada. Prabhupada is ISKCON, and ISKCON is Prabhupada for us, right? Because Prabhupada is our preeminent Siksha Guru, and he has established ISKCON. And at one point in time, he also said that people who say that they respect me but they don't respect GBC or not, there's some issue there. So since he's very much part of that, and it's a Prabhupada's baby and Prabhupada's life. So what is our responsibility, so that as a legacy, what can we give to our future generation? Because at least in this generation, we are lucky to be associated or to know some people who have known Srila Prabhupada, right? So as the time goes, there is also they have that fading of Srila Prabhupada concept. Unless we preserve and understand the mood and mission, Srila Prabhupada, that may fade out, and like it happened to many organizations, many societies. So the two very important societies, that community that really could hold strong, even though they didn't expand as much as ISKCON did, are the Madhva Sampradaya and Sri Vaishnavism. Because even today, they just hold on to their founder acharyas so strong, and they go align in their mood and mission, right? So that's an important thing. But what is my responsibility in understanding mission? How can I support those who are supporting and carrying forward the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada? Where am I standing? What is my goal? The another important thing comes because it's 56 plus years. Naturally, can I charter a separate mood and mission to myself or to my community that I lead? Because in the modern world, in the organization, sometimes in the organization, and that too, in a kind of a disruptive technology world that we live, these kind of core values, visions, aspirations of companies, they get reset. Because unless they reset and try to change, they may not become competitive. But does it apply to Srila Prabhupada's mode and mission? Can I charter? And ISKCON, as I told, is about 56 years old, I think 1965, 66 to now. Is there a need to reset and current mood and mission? Because why these questions come? Because there's always a certain thinking process in place that if we have to expand, you have to be innovative. If you have to be innovative, you may not get fixed to something which is a kind of a rigid thing that has already been told. So these are the doubts. This is the thing that is leaders are thinking in ISKCON, right? So if how much of autonomy that I should have introduced in my own innovation, okay, should I be aligned to the mood and mission and innovate, or am I feeling discomfort in engaging with this mood and mission, so which is prohibiting me to be innovative? So these are some of the questions. There are no answers, as I said, but when we dwell into the mood and mission, as leaders, as community members, wherever, whatever, as a normal member, as servant leaders, these are the questions that will come that we need to ask ourselves, because they are inevitable to come, and they are coming. Probably I have never attended any of these ISKCON leadership sanghas, but I'm sure these are the things that get discussed, particularly part of the innovation. If you have to move forward, you have to change. But how much of a change that you can do, you should do, considering Srila Prabhupada. Is Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission sufficient? Is it all encompassing? So these are the questions I just wanted to share with you as transparently as possible. Keep this in mind. You can dwell, you can discuss amongst yourself, and how do we do, because you are also a community now thinking of going forward, a temple in mind. Temple in is your vision statement or a mission statement, growing the community. So it's all the more important for you to deal with these topics as you set your foundations. And in organizations, they call it, right, core values. So in my organization, where it's very hazardous, one of our core values has always been safety first and always. There's no compromise there. Nobody is compromised. So like that, when we set your core values of your community, how do we deal that? But by and large, if you look at Srila Prabhupada's mood and mission, whether it's fully encompassing or not, I have done one small session to younger children about 15 to 16 years back. I took an inspiration from a book called Jaya Srila Prabhupada from His Holiness Bhaktiveda Swami Maharaj. I tried to reconstruct that because I somehow could not locate my file where I prepared the notes. So I'll quickly go through that. With one there is slight jovial mood in doing this. It will take about 5-10 minutes. But more important than that is it also shows how encompassing Srila Prabhupada mission and mode is there. In the text that you see for the next 5-6 slides, I have not separated mood and mission. I kept it together because separating could become technically a bit difficult. So take that as a combined statement. So in the text slide, I will show some lines. Some lines are given to you, and then you see and say that whether, if you feel that any one of them is not a Srila Prabhupada mission or a mood, you can let me know. Otherwise, after you read it quickly, we'll try to see when we read those mood and mission statements, or when we read those statements, which great personality comes to our mind. I'm not saying that we are going to equate that great personality to Srila Prabhupada. No, our mood is that how many personalities, as an example, that we can take from whom Srila Prabhupada has taken his mood and mission to tell that this mission and mood is Srila Prabhupada is quite comprehensive. That if you have to just look into the ways and means to capture it, and the innovations and whatever with autonomy, the innovations can all come within that space. This is one of the objectives. So let's start this. So be ready to take up austerities, difficulties, old person getting onto the Jaladuta, fixed on the set goal, go to America, start something, preach to those people, recipient of Guru's mercy at the right time in his life. right time when he was already into the freedom movement, getting inspired by Gandhiji, wearing khadi, giving away his degree, subject to not so good treatment with some of his family members at certain point in time in life. May not be throughout his life, at certain point in time, which is a tipping moment, and going away from comfort zone where he was in Vrindavan to very far away, unknown places, and doing almost seemingly impossible thing, and very extremely focused and determined. All all these either a mood, a mission, or characteristics of Srila Prabhupada, right? Which great personality come to our mind when we see this from Srimad Bhagavatam?
Dhruva Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Dhruva Maharaj. Thanks a lot. Dhruva is one person, like, yeah?
Prahlad Maharaj, Prabhuji.
No, Dhruva. Prahlad Maharaj did not go too far away. He stayed, he wanted to stay, like, right? And Prahlad Maharaj, not so good treatment. Prahlad Maharaj got a worse treatment, right? Okay. This is just for fun, but the main idea, as I told you, is to show how encompassing Srila Prabhupada's vision and mood is, that, he so many personalities, he was empowered to get those qualities. And here we are not exaggerating anything, right? We are trying to pick up something which we have already seen it in life. It's not that story of long ago there was a king kind of a thing. These are the story that's living with us and transforming people's life with different backgrounds, different nationalities. Like sometime back, Bhakti Purushottam Maharaj, when he was in last year or year before, when he was inaugurating a year, not last year, a year before, pre-COVID days, I saw that morning program when they were inaugurating the governmental parikrama, Navdeep Parikrama. He was telling there today, as I'm speaking, there are 120 plus nationality people are there in the governmental parikrama, which is amazing, mind-boggling. So transforming people's life in different backgrounds, traveling around the world, always in the mood of chanting the holy names, using different techniques to tackle atheists and devotees. For each one, he had a method of dealing. When very tough nuts came, religious fanatics, he had a method to deal with them. And some people who are very favorable, he dealt with them in a different way. And he gave a clarity about bhakti, very clarity. He has given a definition of bhakti itself, which is sometimes very confusing to people. He says, what is bhakti? This is the definition. Please take it. Which personality we see in this characteristics and mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. Transforming different people, traveling around the world.
Prabhuji, is it the mood of...
Narada Muni?
Yes, Narada Muni. Thank you, Mataji. Narada Muni. A hunter has been, molded. A great personality like Vyasadeva has been taught, varied thing. And all this is, you can see the kind of thing that Srila Prabhupada is, that helps us to absorb in what he's saying. And next we see, being situated in Krishna consciousness in very unfavorable circumstances, extremely strong in preaching spirit, doesn't see who is there, absolute faith in the Lord, being fearless, compassionate towards fallen souls, and drive to help them, remained as an inspiration for young, old, adults. Everybody likes him, and in the end, not desiring for him. And God is also saying that, oh, take it. He said, no. Yadi dasati me kaman. I don't want anything. You want to give, so sorry, sir. I don't want. Who is that great personality? And Srila Prabhupada embodies the spirit too much.
Lord Hanuman?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah. Prahlad Maharaj, this thing. And then embodiment of service attitude, Srila Prabhupada's always giving credit to Master, never taking his name, and always, when in the beginning days, difficult days, mild success, super success, end, always, this is the mercy of my spirit. And 24/7 dedication, used his powers as appropriate at the right time. He knows when to strike the thing. And his master's goal was his goal. He didn't have any separate goal. Crossed seas to fulfill master's desires and did not return back till he succeeded. And I think somebody else has already told this. is Hanuman.
Hanuman.
Prabhupada's, kind of a mood and a mission. His mission was to fulfill his master's desire, and his mood was service, 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 nothing else. And here, simplify the great body of knowledge and ensure that knowledge is available to all sections of humanity. Documented the scriptures, insisted on understanding the writings, right? Srila Prabhupada says, just not the reading. And today, the fact that we are here saying that we have to read, not only read, understand, reflect, contemplate, remember, tell others. And where, in which, how many organizations, societies in the world give this opportunity for us? And abstract Vedic knowledge was explained through various channels and medium. Which great personality comes to our mind? Simplified the great body of knowledge.
Vyasadeva.
Yes, Vyasadeva. And here I just put, I think Ram Vijay Prabhu or Vaman Hari Prabhu can remember. This is the place called Vyasaguha. This is a place called Mana, which is about 3 kilometers from Badri. Badri is one of the 4 Char Dhams. It's about some distance you can go by bus and some you have to trek. It's a thing. And this is where Saraswati meets Alkananda, and then Alkananda meets Bhagirathi and becomes Ganges later down the stream. It's a very, very scenic place. Glaciers gushing tons and tons of water. And this is where Vyasadeva and Ganeshji sat, and Vyasadeva wanted to document Mahabharata, and he said, Ganesh, you have to do that. And he said, Ganesh, you have to do when only you understand what you write, So it's very interesting place, very historical, very nice thing, and very inspiring to go there. And we went with one very senior devotee, His Grace Sarvabhaum Prabhu, and he was telling that ISKCON devotees were planning to put a kind of a shelf there near Vyasaguha with Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam, because Sarvabhaum Prabhu said, if Vyasadeva had documented at that time, Srila Prabhupada, for this age of people throughout the world, has given us Bhagavatam. He's like kind of a representative of Vyasadeva to the whole world. And Vyasadeva has written Bhagavatam in one, and because of Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam got translated and spread throughout the world. And it's a very fitting place to have and place Srimad Bhagavatam in that place. It's a very, very nice place. Mother Saraswati river flows in a very, very vociferous manner, but then becomes very silent when it just drops down and merges into Alkananda, because I believe Ganeshji told that, you're disturbing too much, your sound is too much, be silent. I'm in a very tough task, given a tough task. So here also you see beam, that the bridge beam has put so that Draupadi can cross when they were going to the Swarga. It's a very nice place to remember Vyasadeva. And when we remember Vyasadeva, we remember Srila Prabhupada very, very dearly, because Vyasadeva has unpacked Vedas into 4 Upanishads and so many things he has given, Itihasas and things like that. But Srila Prabhupada has taken all that, absorbed it, and given us the way we can understand. We can assimilate, we can analytically contemplate on that. And so definitely Vyasadeva's spirit is there in mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. And then unattached to the material opulence, Srila Prabhupada never let any temple be after his name, never had his own personal thing, money as such. Latches to the opportunity to go back to Godhead when a seemingly unfavorable situation arises in life. Seeks good guidance with very apt questions. Whenever there is a doubt, goes to the Acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada consults and refers to the Acharyas. Always respectful to the great personalities and the Guru Parampara. Listens intently to what is spoken by Gurus and Acharyas. Excellent example of succession planning. So when he builds something, and when he's leaving, when he's going to retire, he puts in forth a structure in place so that ISKCON does not become a one-man show. We see a lot of spiritual organizations, and a great leader is there, they shine, glory is there. When they're gone, they just dwindle because there's nobody to carry. But ISKCON is growing and growing and growing. So which personality we get here? Can you take us?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Yes, Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj is the one who is intently. And there's a very nice pastime about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Swami and Srila Prabhupada. There's one place where Srila Prabhupada, his guru, was giving lecture. A lot of people were there and they were listening to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. At that time, somewhere the bell rang, Aarti bell rang. So a lot of devotees, a lot of people went away to attend the Aarti. And Srila Prabhupada was one of those people who was keenly listening to what his Guru Maharaj is telling. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj recognized that, oh my God, this person is a person who has a very, very interesting antenna and ear to listen to the spiritual topics. And so he appreciated Prabhupada being there to listen. And Parikshit Maharaj is one. And then very, very self-realized and knowledgeable. And nobody can deny, right? Srila Prabhupada is extremely knowledgeable. Excellent ability to transmit what has been learnt. If you see the Bhaktivedanta purports, the revelation, the kind of things, when people read it, they get amazed on how he can unpack a certain thing into such a lucid manner and a very analytical, simple manner. Expert in handling questions and answers as appropriate, time, place, circumstance, uncompromising. His father was one who gave him a lot of inspiration, and Srila Prabhupada always was very grateful for his father. And this personality also got inspiration from his father. Instrumental for the current mankind to be inspired about Srimad Bhagavatam. Who is this great personality?
Sukadev Swami.
Shukadev Swami, Hare Krishna. Thanks a lot, Prabhu. So for remembering Shukadev Maharaj and Srimad Bhagavatam in the context of Srila Prabhupada and his teachings, very, very self-realized, knowledgeable. And then, of course, Srila Prabhupada, again, this line comes, give perfect answers and perfect questions, or perfect questions and perfect answers, whichever way we take it. And respect among the sages, gets honorific titles. A lot of sages at that point in time respected him a lot. Went to midst of the learned and to clarify their doubt. It's not that I go to a place where people do not know anything and I talk, but he went directly into the midst of people who were already pretty much self-realized, already learned a lot of things, and they were doing austerities and prayers for the welfare of the mankind. He goes in midst of them and then tries to give something instrumental for the current mankind to know what about Srimad Bhagavatam. At the Bhagavatam that we read as chapters, cantos, shlokas, divisions, sarga, visarga, 10 topics, and this personality was responsible for that thing. And it happened in a very, very famous place in India.
Naimisharanya Prabhu.
Yeah, Naimisharanya, but who is the personality?
Amen.
Suta Goswami and Savanakadi Rishis.
Yeah, Suta Goswami, Saunakadi Rishis were there. They gave him, like Srila Prabhupada was given a Bhaktivedanta, a title. They also glorified him, and they also set themselves to listen to what same thing happened with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada, when he started ISKCON, when he started writing the books, many great scholars, many great philosophers have appreciated Srila Prabhupada in outside India, even within India. And they said that he's a person who has really helped to translate these books, write books like this, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, unbelievable way. And then, that helped them. Even the learned people, not only the people who do not know, even the people who know the subject matter do this. Recently I was understanding, I came to know that Bhaktivedanta Institute in Mumbai, India, they're trying to read and research the purports of Srila Prabhupada so deep. Now they want to open up some topics as a thesis topics for devotees to do research, and they will help them to get their PhDs on those topics. One topic which is very interesting is the scientific way of decision making from Bhagavad Gita. One of the research topic, Prabhuji, the director of the institute, was telling. They're trying to build. So what I mean to say is, from the very purports that we seemingly look and read, when then the learned people and people are churn those purports, the actual, when the butter is churned, the ghee comes like that. Some very beautiful things are emanating from the purports of Srila Prabhupada as the devotees are churning and something seemingly impossible things are coming. Sutta Goswami is one example. Yeah. So in conclusion, I just wanted to clearly say, so we are to absorption, the mood and mission. It's not that Srila Prabhupada has come, established ISKCON, and we are seeing this. He has done so many great things. But even well before he came, the stage was setting. Stage was set that an empowered personality is going to come. So what we have seen is in the recent history of what he has done, but we need to understand that what he has done is already and kind of an empowerment by the Lord himself, that this personality is going to come and do this. And we should be so fortunate that we somehow or other, whatever we have done, that we got associated with this, right? So I'll take few examples of that. One, of course, it comes in Chaitanya Mangala. Lochana Das Thakur says that, taking the sharp sword, the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, I'll root out and destroy the demonic mentality in the hearts of all conditioned souls. This is the prediction about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And then, Yadi chapi chadi dharma dure desha yaya, mura senapati bhakta ebe tataya. This is very famous thing, it's often quoted thing. If some sinful people escape and give the religious principles and go far away countries, my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. So there is a kind of a prediction that what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going. And very interestingly, not only in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, there are Sampradaya, Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, way before, at the beginning of this Kali Yuga, there was a very great saint called Nammalwar. He is one of the 12 Alvars of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Just the way we have 6 Goswamis, 12 Alvars were there, and they were there for a long period of time. Very, very great, very, very learned. I put this in Telugu because I couldn't get the English text, and I'll read this and tell the meaning. But I only require one small disclaimer. People who know Tamil, like Gopal Chandra Prabhu, should not laugh at me because it's a Tamil text. I'm a Telugu person reading it, so my pronunciation will be 80% off the track, but only see the bhav. So in a very famous scripture called Tiruvaimudi, Divya Prabandham, just like the way we read Bhagavad Gita Bhagavatam, Sri Vaishnavas read Divya Prabandham, which is a summary essence of these teachings. So there he predicted at the very, very beginning, hundreds and hundreds of years before even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Poliga poitru Valayur Kapum, Nalayum Nagaramun Nainde Namakku Ingu Indron the Illai, Kalayum Kedum Kandu Kolmin Kodal, Vandan Pundagalo Manel, Malaya Pugundi Saipadi, Adi Ulidarak Kondam. That's what he has described. What he said is victory, victory, victory. Poliga means victory. Nammalwar is supposed to be one of the most senior Alvas. He said, I am seeing something wonderful. I am seeing that the living entities who are living in this world, I see that adharma is lost. The dharma is ruling. And nobody is going to hell. I am very surprised. And Yamaraja is becoming jobless. And effect of Kali is decreasing. Very, very surprising. I'm seeing and visualizing this wonderful situation. Why I'm seeing this? I see that throughout the world, the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, are playing music, doing kirtan, coming onto the streets, and they're playing and happily jumping, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And when they're doing it, I'm seeing that Kali effect is totally gone. And this is the prediction that Nammalwar has done, and we can somehow or other relate to what Srila Prabhupada has done throughout the world, right? People came down the streets and the ISKCON is spreading. Of course, it is not, we cannot say that it has spread like throughout the world, but it is gaining the roots to gain and grow and more, right? In the 50 years, we have seen from one temple to 100, 400, 500 centers. And it looks like Nammalwar's prediction is coming to prove to the strength of the holy name. And Nammalwar is a very, very empowered soul, and he has contributed so much to the Sri Vaishnava thing. He is one of those great saints who has become inspiration for Ramanujacharyas and others to establish Sri Vaishnava Parampara. And when we see all this, we also remember one very interesting shloka on how Srila Prabhupada, through his mission, more than mood, how Srila Prabhupada's mission was there, and what in relation to Hanuman, there's a very nice shloka comes in Sundarakanda. In Ramayana, of course, Sundarakanda is one of the beautiful things. And like Srila Prabhupada had encountered a lot of obstacles in his way to success, in his way to establishing ISKCON, Hanuman also carried the orders of his master, desires of his master, and seemingly did something impossible to jump, plunge across the sea, right, of his power. And so a lot of obstacles and tests came. So Simhika is one of the kind of a obstacle that he came, and he is very, very nicely overcome by becoming big and then becoming small and going in and coming out. And Simhika was very quite pleased. And when he was doing with this kind of encounter with Simhika, the Devatas, Kinnaras, and Kimpurushas were very concerned. Oh my God, this person has gone to do this great thing for Rama. Can he manage to come over this obstacle? It looks like very difficult, because Simika was such a powerful personality that he caught hold of Hanuman through his shadow. Imagine somebody catching hold shadow. Then after Hanuman overcome that, and she gave a very wonderful shloka, which we can relate to what Srila Prabhupada's success is. She says, Yasya Tvaitvani Chatvari Vanarendra Yathatava Dhruti, one second, Dhruti Drushti Mati Daksham Sa Karmasu Nasidati. O Lord of Vanaras, he who commands like you these four qualities: courage, Srila Prabhupada, Abhaya Charan Aravinda, A.C. Bhaktiveda Swami, very keen eye on where, how, what to do, smartness, and knack will never fail in his undertakings. And Srila Prabhupada's life, if you see how it has evolved and how it has given birth to ISKCON and how it's developed, and we see the traces of this in Srila Prabhupada and the way Hanuman has overcome, and Srila Prabhupada has overcome this, and he has given us this wonderful society called ISKCON, and we are celebrating his 125th appearance here, and in trying to be more absorbed in the mood and mission of his teachings, which are so very heart and soul of our spiritual nourishment, spiritual welfare, and spiritual strength, and spiritual growth, and which should help us also to some extent here and there, and by and large, to overcome the conflicting and obstacles kind of situations to move forward when we have his teachings, his mood and mission well placed, well situated in our hearts. Sometimes it's easy to say. Sometimes when we say this, people may say we are oversimplifying it. But somehow or other, history has proven that so many great things, so many acharyas of our Srila Prabhupada's disciples have done. If you see them also doing miracles like things, right, in terms of their preaching efforts, it's very obvious that their power is coming to them through Srila Prabhupada, because they accepted him as the person to lead them to go back to Godhead. And we are all following their footsteps. Hopefully, we will not stray here and there. Come what may be, come what may difficulties that may come, we'll try to fix. And for that, we all need to be together, cooperatively work. And that togetherness and camaraderie can come only we are all aligned to what our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada has given us through his mood and mission. So this, in that way, this becomes a pretty interesting. So this is all I just wanted to share. Thanks for giving this opportunity for me to share some of the thoughts. It's always a pleasure to be in Austin or Round Rock, to associate with you and to share something that has inspired us and inspired me. And it's a very great feeling. And sorry if I have overshot my time. I was not looking things, and I'll give the link of our program, Ramdan program. And I saw Ram Vijay Prabhu laughing when I said Ramdan. It links to his name, Ram and Vijay. So thanks a lot again. Big thanks to all of you for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That was such a wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhuji. Very inspiring also. Made me think in Bhagavad Gita, there are couple of places, only twice actually, where the same line of the verse is repeated twice in these two instances. The reason I remember this is because I read in one of the, I think it was in Back to Godhead magazine a while ago. Once a disciple came to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada and said to Srila Prabhupada that, Srila Prabhupada, you know Krishna. What does Krishna want us to do? And Srila Prabhupada said, that's not the point. Krishna wants to know what you want to do. So when you were talking about the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON, it's actually on us as the march forwarders, right? Those who are carrying the torch, those who are carrying the lamp in our hands to continue moving forward in that same mood that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And there's so many wonderful examples that you cited, and although it was kind of a game or a quiz, but there's so much in there, right? Because in every single slide, every single bullet item you had, it's the quality of Srila Prabhupada. And that quality of Srila Prabhupada makes you wonder that how can one person imbibe the mood of not only the acharyas, but also divine personalities in one lifetime, put it all together and wrap it up in a beautiful gift and present it to us, right? And if we don't take that present and we don't open it up nicely and we don't appreciate it, then we will never be able to fathom the gravity of what Srila Prabhupada has wrapped so nicely for us. So thank you so much for sharing these words of wisdom and reminding us of the mood and mission of Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for a nice presentation. It's very inspiring, mood and mission. One of the things that you asked was, can we have our own mood? And I was thinking that if we follow Prabhupada and his mood and try to imbibe that mood, then we'll succeed in the mission. The mission is very clear that we want to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. And we as not really that advanced in spiritual life, we try to imbibe the mood that Prabhupada had. It's not that easy. It's difficult, but one has to try it. And that's the only way I think we can spread the Krishna consciousness movement further. Thank you so much for this inspiring talk. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
So,
Thank you.
I have two questions, but if there is no time for it, I will live with only one question. As other people appreciated, your overall topic well dealt with, well presented, and with a lot of bullet points very clear. And the question I have is on the last few slides, which you said, actually the last slide, which says 4,000 years ago, all verse from Tamil Nadu, who prophesied the coming of Caitanya Mahaprabhu, dancing on the street, chanting the holy name, and they envisioned 4,000 years ago, long before Caitanya Mahaprabhu was born. And during Caitanya Mahaprabhu's time, did he visit any of those places where the prophecy was made? And was he aware of it? Can you narrate some incidents in that connection?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thanks for asking. I have answer for part A, Prabhu. Part B, I do not know. Part A, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did visit many of those places in South India tour. We see a very graphical description of that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And in Srirangam, there's a hot place of the Sri Vaishnava, the capital of Sri Vaishnavism. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu decided to stay 4 months. And he visited Rameshwaram, he visited Madurai, several very, very important, Tirupati, Kalahasti, Mangalagiri, Simhachalam. So many places of Sri Vaishnava stronghold he has visited. So definitely Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had a wonderful, wonderful connection and understanding of Sri Vaishnava wisdom. And not only in Ammalwar, we talk, even Andal Devi also, actually, she is the inaugurator of the Sankirtana movement. And when there's a very nice lecture. I think my daughter used to tell me this. She told me a couple of times, and she also recollected this pastime of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj when he went to Sri Rangam, where I don't know whether if she's there, if she can tell, it will be great. But other things, whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this about Prabhupada's, about Alva's prophecy to Srila Prabhupada, I do not know. I have not heard any acharyas revealing that part of the thing. But when our acharyas went, like His Holiness Jayapataka Swami or His Holiness Radhana Swami, these are the two people whom I know that they have told the very senior most and the priest there. They told that you are the real representatives of Andal, because Andal Devi, Nammalwar, they have predicted that devotees will go out of the streets and establish, inaugurate, sustain, develop, and improve the Sankirtana movement. You are the actual representative. So they have been given that position of that. And Mahasundari, you remember, you want to quickly recollect that the pastime that you used to tell me? If you can, otherwise, if it's, I mean, depending on the time. If she's not there.
Did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visit Andal's birthplace?
Srivalliputtur, no idea, Prabhu. It's not documented in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srivalliputtur is not documented. Srirangam definitely. Probably it could have, I mean, not all places that he would have gone would have been documented. Since he was there for 4 months, I presume that he would have traveled here and there because he was in the mood of preaching. He was mood of trying to establish the connection between our parampara and theirs. So there's no like Shila Sasanas, right? In temples in those days, they used to write that these are the great personalities that have visited. In Srivalliputtur, as far as I know, I have also visited. I have some close friends who are directly connected to the services. They have not told that whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there's any Sila Shasanas that about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's visit there.
Organizers, please pardon me. I have one dry, low-level question. Can I ask?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, this is a very low-level question. Your topic, mood and mission. And mood is something changing. Mission is not changing. You set the mission and you reach the goal. Why did you combine mood along with mission?
Prabhu, no idea, Prabhu, for this. I do not have a very specific answer, I must admit. Why they put the mood, and mood is basically state of mind of Prabhupada. Probably they want us to read the mind of Srila Prabhupada to understand his mission, because in our this is again, I'm trying to speculate and answer, Prabhu, I must confess it. I have not I do not have a direct answer, but one thing which comes about the mood is after we do the Om Ajnana Timirandasya, when we remember our great Acharya Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami is described as a Chaitanya Manobhishtam. The one who has understood the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established this kind of a movement on which we are following, right? We have become Rupanuganas. So understanding the mood or the state of mind of the Acharya is supposed to be a very important thing. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, the devotees whom Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was liking, like Swarup Damodar and others, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sometimes used to tell that, wow, you are reading my mind. Sometimes they used to write some shlokas and give some instructions. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, oh, how did you know that I'm thinking about this? And Swarup Damodar also was very famous for trying to know what kind of a song that he has to play, what tune he has to play. So knowing the mood of the master is given a lot of importance there. That's how we come to know, and probably that's the reason why the need and the mood of the master knowing is given importance in our parampara. But why the mood and mission they have combined, I do not know. If anyone can answer it, it will be very nice education for me. Hare Krishna.
If I could add something, just like in our material lives, we work for somebody, and if I work for my boss, I want to understand how my boss thinks, so I can also act in such a manner that I can be part of the mission of the organization, right? So I can make decisions accordingly. I can direct the business directly, the way, whatever my function might be, right? Understanding the mood of somebody who you are devoted to is very, very important, because if you understand the mood of that person, that means you're aligned to the goal or the mission of that person. In spiritual life, just Prabhuji very nicely mentioned, we are Rupanugas. We are the followers of Rupa Goswami. And in the mood of Rupa Goswami is what? Serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions. And same way, we align ourselves with that mission. But if we don't understand the mood, and if we go in different directions, we will never be able to reach the same goal or the mission that has been prescribed to us. I'm not going to say it has been given to us to go just follow blindly. No, it has been prescribed to us. Because if we are going to take that prescription, just like a doctor gives a prescription, then we can heal ourselves. In the spiritual life also, we have been given a prescription. And if we follow the same to the dot guidance that has been given, we will definitely achieve the goal. But if we understand the mood, then we are completely absorbed in carrying out that mission or achieving that goal. So that's how the mood and the mission for me comes together.
Yes, Sri Rama, you tried to convince and interpret it in a way, yes, appealing, no question about that. But what you are referring to is reading the mind, and mood is different from reading the mind. So read the mind of the master, then mission. So that's different from saying mood of the master and reading the mind of them. Both are different, but what you are interpreting is the reading of the mind of the master, not the mood. Because mood is changing. Mood, the very definition of mood is changing. But whereas the mind of the master is clear, what he sets, that's not changing, that's permanent.
Correct.
Mission is set, mission is permanent. You cannot combine impermanent with the permanent. That's what my basic question is.
If I may add to that just a second, Asundra here, I think what we're talking about here from Prabhupada's perspective is that the mission of Prabhupada always stays the same. So what Srila Prabhupada did, like so many great acharyas, is he took the mission and was able to present it in a way that was conducive for the time and place circumstance, right? So what Prabhupada did is important for us to reflect on that, is that, we have to understand the mission, but be able to share it in the right mood based on the time, place, circumstance that we're in.
So I agree. I think reading the mind is a bit different. Mood is a state of mind. So yeah, that's correct. I think.
Yeah. I mean, we can go forward, but one last point I'll make is, in the material sense, you can try to read a mind and make decisions, but the mood here that we are referring to is something eternal, like you mentioned, Anand Prabhu. The mood of the spiritual master is eternal. It is spiritual. To understanding the mood is not same as reading the mind. I completely agree with that, right? So the mood absorption is to understand the goal. When you're relating the mood to something eternal, to something permanent, something spiritual, that mood is not changing. Mind could be changing, but if mood is in a material thing, that will change. So you see how you channel the energy, you channel the mood to something permanent, which is different from the materialistic ambitions or goals or missions that one might have. Okay, we'll turn it over to Parul for closing out.
Okay, Haribol everyone. Thank you so much, Jagajiva and Jagannath Prabhuji. That was a really wonderful class. Not only just about like how Prabhupada spread his mission and his mood all over the world, but how we should be like continuing that every single day. So let me share my screen.